get, your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. Honey, I'm here looking at my band too. Okay. Won't it do? Okay. All right. So I really wanted to talk about this. I had came across this sister's page on YouTube. And I pretty much been watching her content because you guys know recently here and studying consumer law. Okay, and if you don't know what consumer law is pretty much your rights. Okay, is based upon the Constitution, the Federal Reserve, and also the Bill of Rights. Okay, and it actually protects the consumer. So you are the consumer. Okay, slash creditor. All right. So I came across this sister. I watched her video last night, pretty much talking about, if you get denied from any form of credit and things like that. So this morning, I was watching her videos, and one of the videos that popped up was talking about, we all been saying this saying for so many years. And a lot of times we say things, but we don't even know the real meaning behind it. It's like you just saying stuff because you have heard other people, say it. I remember growing up, I used to hear that always thou shalt respect our mother and father, so our days be long. And if probably in your household that was like always preached to you and stuff like that, and you may have felt like the adults were, so to speak, like the hierarchy, right? And they could do no wrong, right? But you as the child, okay, whenever you did something wrong, it was always a consequence for it, right? And even that saying it is totally wrong, okay? It also states that the parents should not provoke the child, right? And so, when you hear these sayings, because a lot of times the sayings, they really can make you live in this illusionary world. Hey, Hard, hey, Miss Harden, peace to your baby. It could make you live in this illusionary world, and you may believe like, well, my family and everything like that, honey, aren't they cute? Honey, the Bantu would do it. Okay. It'll have you living in this fantasy world where as though you like, well, I gotta accept the unacceptable. Okay. I gotta tolerate, my parents, they treat me this way, or, my family treat me this way, and I just outright have to accept it. Even this saying, okay, blood is thicker than water. Now I used to say that. Okay, but I remember my mother, she would have this saying, she would say sometimes the people outside the street and on the streets would treat you better than sometimes your own family. Okay. The actual saying is, okay, and I did this, honey, what I tell you guys, each and every day you should be learning something new. Okay, and you should be becoming better than what you previously was. Okay. So I'm always learning new different things. I'm always have an open mind, because not for nothing, you can just think like, oh well, everything I've been taught so far is all correct. But how could you tell what you've been taught is actually going against these here laws of this here universe? Is you could look at your life and see that your life may be chaotic. Okay. And that's how one of the ways I can tell if it's interrupting my peace, if I'm allowing it to interrupt my peace, then that means that I'm not in alignment, or I'm at an alignment. Okay. So one of the things that the sister said, the actual saying is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. And a covenant is pretty much is like is a choice, right? Like sometimes you may say, me and you may have a friend, right? And that friend could treat you, or y'all can have a stronger connection than your actual sister or your actual brother, right? And is the choice, right? Like the covenant is the choice. The family members, like we can't choose. And I wait, hold on, I take that back, because I do believe that we have chose our family, okay, for various reasons, to break generational curses, to break the chains, and all these different things. So I take that back. But one of the things you have to understand is that the covenant is stronger than the blood, because it's your choice, right? It's your choice. Like, oh yeah, well, this is my friend, and y'all really extremely close. Also, boundaries. So you guys hear me talk about boundaries a lot, and this subject goes hand in hand together. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys an example. My youngest daughter, who is 8 years old, honey, she 5 years old, about to be 6. Okay, that's what I'm saying. She 5 going on 8. Okay, but my youngest daughter, who is 5 years old, she have her twos. Okay, she getting these attitude stages. Whereas though, sometimes she'll say I'm making her frustrated and stuff like that. Like if I'm going over her homework and erasing it because it's wrong. Okay, so she'll say stuff like, "Oh, you making me frustrated," and all this other stuff, and don't even know what frustration means. Okay, well, to her, I guess she do, because she be upset. Okay, and so the other day she had like this attitude, pretty much wasn't listening. So I told her, I said, Amani, okay, and her name, by the way, it means faith. Okay, but I said to her, I said, Amani, listen. If you don't listen, I'm not going to buy your Halloween costume, right? Like, you have to listen. And so one of the things that she said, she started talking mess, like she don't care and all this other stuff, right? And so I said, you know what, I'm not buying it, right? And it's so funny, because I was telling my oldest son, who is 20 years old, I said, I'm not buying a Monty costume. And he was like, you'll buy it. And I was like, I'm not buying it. And he was like, okay, right? Because he know at times I could be, a certain type of way, right? Especially when it comes to my children. And I think that's like the worst thing. Hey Tracy, peace to you, baby, peace to you, peace to you. I think that is like really the worst thing, because your children, they imitate what you do. So if you are, a pushover with them, they're going to allow people to be a pushover on them. Okay, and so I told my youngest daughter, I'm like, I'm not buying it. I stuck to my word, okay, until today. Okay, so I don't know if you guys seen the event that I went to last night. Like, I brought my two youngest children to their school, and it was really cute. It was like a Halloween theme, and also they had like the trunk or treat. Like, they had trunks, cars, in the inside of the trunk. Okay, they had like a bunch of candy, like a basket of candy and stuff like that for the kids. They had cupcakes. It was outside. They had a DJ, everything, right? And so I brought my children in, and that's why in a video you will see my youngest daughter with no damn costume, and then my youngest son, he has his costume on. And so I seen like my youngest daughter, she was going up to her friends, and her classmates, and they had like their costume on and stuff like that, and she didn't have no costume on. And I felt like some type of way. Hey, Mina, peace here, baby, peace here. I felt some type of way. And so, this morning when I got up, I was like, I'm gonna go get the costume. I'm gonna go get it. And so the plan is, see, even stuff like that, right? And that is error. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's wrong. I'm gonna say it's error. And I'm gonna tell you why. So I brought the costume from Walmart, right? And I got the costume like all the way in the closet, tucked under. Okay, she won't even know that it's there. The reason I say that's wrong, right? Because basically I'm showing her that my boundaries are moving, right? Like, when you have boundaries, and one of the things I tell my youngest daughter, I say, listen, whenever you talk to me a certain type of way, my boundary with you is, mommy not going to talk to you. Okay, I'm not talking to you. Okay. And I tell her, if you want something and you act in a certain type of way, I will not buy it for you. Right. And so when you set that boundary, it is for you to hold that position. And I know, especially us mothers, like we're given, we're still do what we said we wasn't gonna do. And the reason why that is wrong is because even with the universe, it does not work like that, right? Like if our children, when our children go against the laws of this here universe, okay, they get a consequence, right? It's not like, they're not going to get a consequence. So that's the same as that it's the same as that perspective. And so my whole thing was, well, I put the costume in the closet, if her father, because I told her father, I said, listen, I'm not buying Amani's costume. If you want her to, have a costume, you're just going to have to buy it, right? And he was like, okay. And I was calling him, and, it was like, I wanted him to, I really, the way I was giving the energy to calling him and, like text him like, oh, like Amani don't have a costume, right? It was almost as if like it's not even her that's worried about the costume, it's me. And I'm the one who said that I'm not gonna get the costume because of the way she was behaving, okay, well, acting out. And so it is wrong because we show people how to treat us, okay, even our children. Okay. And one of the vows I had made to myself was that I am not going to do what I did with my oldest children. I'm not going to do it with my youngest children. And that was pretty much just be a pushover. That's really what it was. Just pretty much be a pushover. Also, you have to have boundaries with yourself as well. Okay. And like I said, I was watching this sister, and she was talking about this, and she was saying like, how she has boundaries with herself when self doubt come up, when fear comes up, and how she basically talk to herself and say, you know what, like, fear, I appreciate you. You've been here this long, and I appreciate you, for being, showing me certain things, but you can't come with me. Right. And that's really what it is. And when you have boundaries with yourself, definitely it becomes easier to have boundaries with other people. Also, when you talking about boundaries, I know it can be a very uncomfortable topic, and so it's like very uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable. Be mindful of your words, okay? But like, when I told my mother, I had boundaries with her, it was very uncomfortable to say that. Very uncomfortable because the first thing that came to my mind was, what gives you the right to have boundaries, right? And people who don't have boundaries, they would never be able to respect your boundaries. Let me say it again. People who don't have boundaries, they will never be able to respect your boundaries. Like my oldest daughter, who is 17 years old, I used to tell her several times, like, don't touch my stuff. If you want to use it, ask me for it or whatever, but just don't just take my stuff, right? Because when I go to use it, it's no more because you used it all. And I remember she would still do it. Like what I said to her, it just was like, nope, I'm going to do exactly what the hell I want to do. And what you say, it really don't matter. And so much so to the point where as though I put my stuff up and then she had just started taking it, like stealing it, right? And no matter how many times, I would say it, she would still do it. And so what wound up happening was, I talked to her about it. I, say stuff to her about it and stuff like that. And she'll still do it. And so it came a point where as though I would say, you know what, you're going to have to go stay with your father's girlfriend because you can't stay here. Okay. And like I said, it can be, it can make you feel a certain type of way. But as long as you are enabling, because that's really what we tend to do. When we keep stepping in, because we feel bad for people, and basically, if you feel bad for people, is basically you saying that they can't do no better. Okay, that's what you're really saying subconsciously. And when you say that, and keep on rescuing them, right, or trying to rescue them, like I said, nobody is coming to rescue you, right? But when you trying to rescue them, it's almost as if like the universe is going to give you something. It's going to make you pay for that. Okay, and then in the payment, it'll be like this. Somebody across the line with you, okay, because you're trying to rescue them, and they across the line, and they do something to you that is an absolutely violation, okay, and you will say, after all I helped you, and this is what you do to me. People need to go through what they need to go through in order for them to discover their highest version of themselves. And every time you step in and try to rescue them, even far as you get family members that's on drugs, okay, dealing with some type of sort of addiction. You can have, somebody that in your family that is a booster, a thief, okay, a booster, and you can just keep on trying to rescue them. And every time you rescue them, it's a consequence for you. Because the universe is basically saying to you, mind your goddamn business. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Okay? This has everything to do with them and their perception, okay, and their reality. And here you are trying to put your 2 damn cents in, okay, and trying to be Captain Save a Hoe, okay, and then what happens? Then you feel betrayed, okay? You feel violated because you put your 2 cents in where your 2 cents was not needed, okay? And so this is something that I talk a lot about boundaries and stuff like that. But as I'm hearing myself say this, it's like my youngest daughter, who's 5 years old, she just gonna have to go through it, right? And although I brought the costume, and you should have seen me this morning, I was, at first I was like, no, I'm not gonna get dressed and go get that costume. And then there was a part of me was like, go get the costume. And then another part, I pulled my clothes out, and then I said, I really don't want to go and get it, right? But we all go through lessons. And let me tell you something. I tell you guys all the time, I am not perfect. Okay. If you was looking for somebody that was perfect, honey, I'm not perfect. Okay. I'm growing, and flowing just like the next person. Okay. But I share with you guys the things that I have been through, and I share with you, the lessons that I have learned. Okay. And this is another lesson. Okay. Another lesson. And one of the things I ask myself, making sure, right, my youngest daughter have her costume so she won't feel left out. Is that more important than respect? You receiving respect. Like, which one is more important? Okay. Your youngest daughter not having a costume for Halloween, or you continuously gonna get disrespected, okay, because or she gonna talk to you and stuff like that, a certain type of way. And I don't beat my children, okay. When things get a certain way, I pop the hell out of them. But I don't beat them. Okay, I don't use the belt and stuff like that with them. Now with my oldest children, I used to, use the belt and stuff. But if I knew better, I would have done better. Okay. So with my youngest children, I don't do that. But those some of the questions that you have to ask yourself, right? Like even when it comes to perhaps your mama, or your daddy, or your grandmama, or your aunts, or whoever it is, right? Or a friend. Okay, I told you guys I had a friend who I love dearly. Okay. And this friend, very supportive. She always supported me, especially making content and stuff like that. She always, pretty much was there. And I remember I felt a certain type of way because every time she came to my house, she wanted to eat. Okay, she wanted food. Like I'll be cooking and stuff like that. And if I'm cooking, I'm gonna ask her, do she want to eat? But even it was times where as though, mainly when I was cooking, right? And I remember I felt so uncomfortable to have this conversation with her because I was like, I don't know how she's gonna take it and stuff like that. But one of the things that I realized was if I don't have this conversation with her, then how could we really be friends? Right. And I'm so grateful and thankful for her character and the type of friend that she is. Because I remember, I sent her a message and I was like, I don't mind you coming to my house, but every time you come here, you want to eat, girl. Okay. And one of the things she replied back, she, how some people go into defense mode, like that ain't damn true and stuff like that. But she was very honest. She was like, yeah, girl, I like to eat. Okay. She was like, yeah, girl, I like to eat. And she was like, I thought you knew that. And she also said, she said, but it's times where so I would be on my way to your house and I would ask you sometimes, okay, it would be few times, okay. And she'd say, I asked you, did you want something? And you will always say no. And I would say no, like the few times that she did ask me, and that was on me, right? But I did feel like she was always coming over to eat. Okay. And when I told her that, she ain't take offense to it or anything like that. She was very like, yeah, that's true. Right. And our relationship became stronger. And so after that, whenever she was coming over to my house, she had asked me, like, oh, do you want me to bring you something? And at times I would say, yeah. That I would want her to bring, whether it was some wine or something like that. I barely drink, but every now and then, okay, I may have like one glass of wine, but I barely drink. And so, yeah, so those conversations, sometimes they can make you feel a certain type of way, but you have to ask yourself, if you don't have this conversation with this person, with this friend of yours, okay, is it going to cost you that friendship? Because if you don't say anything about it and you just allow it to go on, right, you may start having some animosity built up because you were too afraid to speak up and say exactly how you feel. Okay, so have those conversations when they do, feel uncomfortable and stuff like that. Also, you have to remember you set the tone. Okay, you set the tone. If you are allowing, people to come in your life and run amok over your life, and you just like, well, I can't, have a conversation with them because I don't know how they're gonna react. The way they react, it has nothing to do with you. Let me say it again. The way they tend to react, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. That's a dumb problem. Okay. But you want to have the conversation because what has been going on in a relationship, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Okay. And so that's why you want to set the tone. That's why you want to, have the intent and let the person know exactly like how you feel and the boundaries, behind it, okay, and then implement the boundaries, because that's another thing. Because sometimes we'll just keep talking and talking, like I used to be telling the guys that I date, oh well, if I catch you cheating, I'm leaving. And I was saying over and over and over and over and over again. And you know why I used to keep saying it over again? Because I was afraid. I was afraid that if I was to catch them cheating, then I had to be like strong on my word, of what I said, right? Like it had to be an action. And so I would keep on constantly reminding them, if I catch you cheating, I'm leaving you, right? So they could get it in their mind like she gonna leave. But I was full of talk then. I was full of talk back then, okay? It was like, don't do it because then I may have to leave you, but I really don't want to leave you, and all these different things. Yeah, like, and it really takes practice. Like, even with your significant other, people don't know how we feel. Okay. That's one, right? And then two, don't you think that you deserve more? Like, as I'm making this video, I keep on thinking my daughter ain't getting that goddamn costume. You get what I'm saying? Like, I keep thinking that. My spirit is telling me, Dina, don't give her that goddamn costume. Okay? Now I keep thinking that and feeling that way. Right? But if you don't remember this, I used to say I want a guy, right? Like, I want to date a guy that's going to take up for me, that's going to protect me. But if you don't take up for you, right? You see, like, if you can't even take up for you, what makes you think that you're going to attract somebody that's going to be able to take up for you if you can't even take up for your own damn self, or if you can't even speak up for yourself, right? And so, although it may feel uncomfortable, still do it. Still do it, because if you don't do it, okay, you're gonna wake up and see why your life is chaotic, why people are running amok over your life, why they do the absolute most um I can't even think of the word. Why they do, the most absolute, or do create so many violations, okay, is because of you being afraid to lose them. Right? You being afraid, and that's really what it comes down to. Why people don't tend to speak up for themselves is because they afraid. And that's pretty much like you saying that this person is on a pedestal. You putting this person on a pedestal higher than you, right? You came here by yourself, okay, and you're gonna die by yourself. And so why not have a life where as though is enjoyable, as opposed to being a people pleaser and doing everything for other people, whereas though then you neglect your damn self. And then you say, well, why my life is going this way? It's going that way because the people that you are attracting, they are just reflecting back to you exactly what you putting out and exactly how you truly feel about yourself. Okay. I was gonna tell you guys something else. I don't forgot. So with that being said, I love you guys. I got to study. Make sure you guys rocking out. Make sure you believe in yourselves. Understand that everything starts within you. And when you have boundaries, you're gonna see like your life is gonna be peaceful. Is going to be, like a breath of fresh air, because you're not going to tolerate the unacceptable, right? And you're going to put your foot down, okay? You're going to put your foot down, okay? And with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one.